Hi friends, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. Hope you're having a great day. You know, my heart is full right now. It is Saturday afternoon, and right now I'm sniffing these. I went to visit my niece and my brother earlier this week, and my husband and I went over, and I got to see one of my niece's daughters. One was in school and stuff. But it was so nice, and I had never met her before, but here we are living in New Hampshire, just half an hour away from each other, and we're like, why haven't we gotten together? There's a lot of family dynamics, but oh my gosh, I do not want to forget her because she's just a little bit away, and I can visit her, she can visit me anytime. But when I got there, her daughter and her came over and gave me this. Isn't that gorgeous? And it's just beautiful. And so that I have on my deck. And it just kind of, every time I go out the door, I see it there. And I think of Leanna. And, it just brought warmth to my day. And it's like, nobody brings me flowers, but I'm okay with this. I do have a friend who's brought flowers to me before last year. And she's really a sweet woman, too. But today, God did something else for me today. And it's like, I wasn't expecting it. I was busy making some soup and I was working on a video. Hopefully that'll come out all right because I made a soup with what I had on my counter. But so I'm doing that, and then I start going through what's left of the cherry tomatoes. I still have some, and I'm pulling out the red ones, getting them washed up, getting them ready to go into the freezer. And I get a text from a friend that I used to work with at the hospital as surge techs. And she says, Laura, can you use these? And I'm like, the first part, I'm like, oh, I'm feeling guilty. It's like, can't somebody else use them? And then I thought, for some reason, God put me on her mind to offer these to me. So I'm like, I still would like to have more tomatoes so I don't have to go and buy them. And I can do something with these things. So she sent me a picture of 2 of these, and she brought 3 bags of these large cherry tomatoes. And she also blessed me with some regular sized tomatoes. Okay, they're green. You know what? They ripen up inside. And that's what I'm going to do. These will get into their paper bags and everything. And I will slowly continue to fill the gallon bags as they turn red, put them in the freezer until they're ready to be cooked up. So I'm just feeling like God is showing me love through other people. And He truly is. It's been very stressful over the last few years, but as I build my YouTube channel, I'm trying to encourage people to use what you have. Now, one thing that she mentioned to me is she goes, I don't have time to do what you do. I work full time, my husband works full time, and they enjoy the garden during the season. So that is why they do it. I use the garden and hopefully be able to preserve. My garden wasn't that great, but it was good enough. I'm not complaining. I'm very grateful with what God provided through the earth for our needs. What I'm saying is sometimes God gifts us beyond all that work we're doing. And when God presented this through Tammy, it's like I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh my word, this is a gift. So when somebody offers you a gift of excess and you're one that does this kind of thing, accept it with grace, unless you have too much, of course. Accept it with grace and then be able to take it and use it. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to honor Tammy by making sure that these foods do not go in the compost, because that's her hope, was that they would get used up. And she said she thought of me at first when she was pulling them. She didn't know what to do because she didn't want to throw food away. She says, who would even use this? And then she thought of me because of my YouTube channel. She says, you make stuff out of nothing. I said, I try. I said, I just finished making soup out of nothing. And her husband doesn't eat vegetables like I do. I mean, David's coming on board, but not to the same degree. So I just wanted to share that God is a blessing. He provides us sometimes through our gardens. Like my cherry tomatoes were a gift from God because I didn't plant cherry tomatoes. But I do like the size of hers. Most of those are green, but this is the size okay? And this is mine. It looks like one's bigger than the other. Hers did better than mine. But you know what? I'm making do with what I have, and I'm so very thankful. So for those of you that are sitting back and saying, you know, how can God bless me? You know, you can't think like that because you have to work hard in this world, and that's not why I got these. She just happened to see me on YouTube, and she follows it because sometimes I post on Facebook. God has a way of sharing his love through others. But sometimes if you're just sitting back waiting for somebody to do something for you, or it's not going to happen, because you have to be the force that you reckon with. You have to be the one who uplifts yourself to provide for your needs. As I've said, David and I are not wealthy, but I have the abilities to put food on the shelf. So I'm taking this gift and I'm going to put it on our shelves for us to consume. And that's what you have to do. You have to be able to be willing to do that. Now, I asked her, I said, don't you can this stuff? She goes, no. She goes, I really don't have time. My husband and I both work full time. We have a bunch of grandkids. And so she was on her way to watch one of them at the football game. And the one she's going to see is the one who was born like 2007 or 8 is when we met each other as search techs. She's 1 year ahead of me in our training at that time, because I was still in training and she was actually working. And then later I went on to be a search tech at another facility, and I just stayed at the hospital as an LNA. And but you don't realize the friendships that you have, because when you walk away, you still have your connections on Facebook, but everybody's so busy, you know, you just kind of like or make a comment and stuff like that. So it was really nice. And you know what the best part about this visit? And it was short, it was brief. We quickly caught up because she had to go to a football game. We got a hug. And we don't get enough hugs in this world. So I got hugs from my brother, my niece, and her little girl. I got hugs from my friend. And you know, that's the one thing that's been missing in this world, is enough hugs, enough love, and enough giving of ourselves to others. And I think the part that makes this very joyful to me, and I have a tendency to be the giver, and I don't always want to take from others, and I really felt guilty about taking these, and then I had to say, no, this was meant to be Laura. So God does provide in interesting ways. Another way he's providing for us is, and it's work. I'm taking the food, and I like her cherry tomatoes. They're bigger than mine. I'm saving seeds. These are some watermelon seeds. And I've got green peppers. I've got green peppers. I got yellow peppers. And I've got some tomatoes. And some of the Roma tomatoes that I picked up at the farm stand, because I didn't grow any Roma. I thought I did, but they didn't. They decided they weren't growing. So those, I harvested those seeds as well. So when we are making ends meet and we wonder, is God providing for us? God gives us the ability to do stuff. And if I learned to seed save. How will these turn out? I don't know. But you know what I did? Is I researched and I watched other YouTubers to see how they did it. I learned. Will it be great? I don't know. But you see, for us to survive the crazy out there, you have to be willing to give a little bit of yourself. You have to say, okay, I'm going to try seed saving so that I can grow Roma tomatoes next year. Maybe I can grow watermelons next year. I don't know. But it's worth trying. So as this world goes crazy, think about what you can do. Now, Tammy is not going to be canning up tomatoes, and she doesn't have time. That's why she thought of me. And that's okay. See, I don't judge anybody. If somebody doesn't want to can, it's not, that's a lot of work. But I'm home, and I can do that job. I can do that for my husband and I. But people who are working full time might not be able to. And then there are people who don't know how, and they don't have the tools to do that. So saying that, you have avenues of how to provide for your family. So sometimes, though, you have to work. That doesn't mean you have to work at a job. It means if you want to put things on the shelf, you have to find a way that'll work for you. If that means making a soup and then freezing it later, you don't have to have canning goods to do that if you make too much, or you can enjoy that soup for the week. How crazy is the world going to get? I don't know. I see a lot of craziness, and it's something I'm going to be sharing later. There's a post that it's been on my mind, and so maybe I'll do it for my Sunday reflection because the week has been going crazy. Is you got to remember all of this noise that's coming from the news, from the internet, from your medias, your social medias and all that. It's a lot of noise, and it can actually mess with you. So stop and think, okay, you can put extra food on your table. How long will this whole craziness go? I don't know. I do know our grocery bill is tripled, and so I've cut back, which is a blessing of these tomatoes. That's why that's a blessing for us. You need to stop and say, do I want to be living in fear? Or do I want to honor God and just live fully with joy? And just make do with what you have. And when you have food, don't waste it. And that was the nice thing. She didn't want to waste these tomatoes. So she made sure it went to somebody who would take them and use them. So if you are provided a gift of food, of perishable food, make sure that you take it and you consume it and use it. If you are provided with gifts of shelf-stable food, be blessed and know how lucky you are and how fortunate God put on those people's minds to serve you. And as you can, serve others with what you can. You know, sometimes we have nothing to give, but we do have our time. And there's some other ways that we can give. And I'm going to share some of that later this week because I'm really excited about some of the things I automatically do anyway that I want to share how they fill me with joy. And that's why I enjoy giving to others. So I give praise to God because God has blessed me this week. David and I had a real rough week. Not as a relationship, but we had stuff going on and it was like, oh my gosh, when is this going to end? Well, you know, we think we're almost at the end of it. And I'm just really grateful that we survived the bulk of it. And we're just kind of like taking a breath and we're doing okay. So I was off for a few days. And so here I am. I'm sharing some joyful things. And I think God did this because he knew how stressed I was getting. I mean, crashing. You know, I get tired and I'd crash. And I'd get up at 2 in the morning. I would still go back to bed. I'm actually getting like about 6 hours sleep, but I might be up every couple of hours. But I'm getting good rest. But by the time I go to bed, I could be talking to my husband and I'd be clonked up because we're tired. Both of us are very, very tired. But I think we just turned a corner of the major stresses that are current in our lives. Might be okay. We have other things going on. Nobody's free of stress. I got a hair in my face. Hold on while I try to get that out instead of sitting here. I don't know where it is. I'm going to just have to deal with this. But we have opportunities to find joy, and I am just so grateful that by the end of the week we were kind of like, finally. We don't have a car yet, but we're going to still keep going on that. But we're not going to stress our lives out over making sure that we get that tomorrow. We're going to take our time and we're going to do it right. So, friends, if you can be a blessing to others, do so. If somebody blesses you, be grateful because things are happening in this world in a crazy way. Refocus and find where God is working. He's not hiding. He's watching. and he's taking care of his children. Hey folks, I gotta go because I got grandbabies on the way, so I want to make sure I'm all set up. The house is still a wreck, but I told Holly there's a lot of love here. I just have some chores to do, and I was making soup, and it's clean, but I still have to do some more vacuuming and a few other things. But if they show up, they're only going to get it dirty, right? So folks, I hope that you have a great afternoon, and may God abundantly bless you.